Part 47. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 461. I felt that Murong Cheng was really shameless. Isn't Wang Zhan outside? She said angrily. Murong Cheng frowned upon hearing this. You asked a man to take off my pants and scrub them? No, it's too disgusting. I was originally on fire, but when he heard him say that, she couldn't help but sarcastically said, do you still feel disgusted? You are the most disgusting person. Yes, I am the most disgusting. Murong Cheng pulled her back forcefully, and kissed the back of her hand with his lips. I am disgusting, I am filthy, and I just need a holy fairy to baptize me. I was amused by him. Immediately, he felt that he couldn't laugh, so he straightened his face again, but it was still a step too late. Murong Cheng had already seen the flickering smile on her face. I'll get you some water. She shrugged off his hand and walked to the water dispenser to get water. When she turned around and came back, she found that Murong Cheng was unpacking her chocolates. Why are you always like this? I was anxious, and hurried back with a glass of water in her hand. I took it apart without even asking. Haven't you ever thought that this might be a gift I want to give to others? When Murong Cheng heard this, his eyes darkened. Besides me, who else do you want to give chocolates to? I'm tired of work and need to clean up. Can't I buy it and eat it myself? I was furious. Murong Cheng's thin lips curled up slightly, and he removed all the remaining wrapping paper, and said, this must be for me. I scolded him, shameless. At this time, Murong Cheng's expression froze slightly, as if he was a little confused. Zizi, what is this? I looked down, and found that the piece of chocolate in Murong Cheng's hand was sticky together, and he couldn't see the appearance of a little devil anymore. When she was waiting outside just now, she kept holding it tightly in her hand. Presumably the temperature of her palm melted the chocolate a little. It's a bit like a toad, Murong Cheng said. I deliberately belittled him. You are just a toad who wants to eat swan meat. You dare to miss the daughter of the Huo family. You should be shot now. You almost lost your life, and the swans didn't even come to see you. You deserve it. What kind of swan is she? Murong Cheng smiled nonchalantly. She is only a big white goose at most. If I really become a toad, I only like Zizi the swan. When I heard this, the feeling in her heart was indescribable. She thought to herself, are all men like this? The hero who can demote that woman to nothing in front of her face, but turns her head back, is a righteous hero who saves the beauty. Smart words, I said in a muffled voice. Murong Cheng smiled, and ate the chocolate one bite after another. You just finished the operation, can you eat chocolate? I frowned, a little uncertain. I heard that sweets are easy to cause inflammation. You should stop eating. Zizi's heart, inflammation is nothing, even if it is poison, you have to eat it. Murong Cheng gorged himself on the food, and he didn't get tired of it. He ate up the chocolate in 3 or 5 mouthfuls. He just ate the chocolate. Obviously it was a trivial matter, but for some reason, I's eyes were a little sore. She felt that she was worthless and could easily be moved by Murong Cheng. She really lacked concentration. I lowered his head uncomfortably, and handed the water glass on the table to Murong Cheng. In the future, even if you have 9 lives, you won't be able to survive. You'll be shot for a woman with your front foot, and you'll be poisoned to death by a woman with your back foot. Murong Cheng drank the water, and when he heard her sour words, he pulled her over with a smile, kissed her lips, and said, Zizi, you are not only jealous, but also very time-sensitive. Like. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 462. When something like this happened, Murong Cheng wanted to hide it from I. In any case, it should be concealed, Being injured for another woman is disgraceful and without honor, adding to the suspicion between the two. Murongcheng does not want to see such a result. But when it really happened, he felt that it tasted good. Muzi was jealous of him. This was something he hadn't even dared to think about before. Being jealous means that this woman has him in her heart. Thinking of this, Murongcheng hugged Muzi even tighter in his arms. Release Muzi was afraid of touching his wound, so she didn't dare to struggle hard, and said in disgust, "There is something dirty and smelly on my body, don't touch me." Murongcheng pushed forward, "Then wipe it for me." "I don't want it, you go to Wangzhan," Muzi said coldly, "or you go to your white swan and ask her to wipe it for you." Still jealous, Murongcheng smiled, "Zizi, I'm injured and can't take a bath, if I don't wipe it off, I'll feel bad." Muzi ignored him. Murongcheng was soft, and said, "When you were lazy before, I was the one who scrubbed you. I have never disliked you." Muzi had no choice but to stand up angrily, went to the bathroom and fetched a basin of hot water to help him scrub his body. I thought in my heart, just pay off the debt. Before scrubbing, Murongcheng asked her to find a brown glass bottle in the side drawer. "What is this?" Muzi took it back and asked him. "Pour a little and apply it on my body," Murongcheng said. In order to facilitate the operation, Murongcheng took off his clothes and his upper body was bare. Muzi did as she said, first smeared some on his arm. His skin texture is tight and smooth, his muscles are well proportioned, and every undulating line is full of masculine strength. As it is applied, the slightly darker skin tone slowly melts away like faded oil paint. Muzi understood, it turned out to be cleansing oil. All makeup removers are irritating to a certain extent. Muzi carefully avoided his wound, wiped it off for him bit by bit, and then scrubbed it with a damp towel. When she was doing these things, Murongcheng told her about the injury. "Those people are running after Huolin. They want Huolin to die on my territory. In this way, my so-called fiancé status will no longer hold water, and I have a blood feud with the Huo family. Then they can take the opportunity to pull me down from the position of patriarch." Murongcheng said, "Zizi, I saved Huolin not because I love her, but because I can't let the situation evolve to that point." Muzi lowered her head to wipe his body, said in a muffled voice, "Who you love has nothing to do with me, you don't need to explain it to me. Why is it okay? I love you, little thing." Murongcheng pinched her face with a smile. Muzi threw away the towel and stood up, as if very angry. "How many times have I said this? Don't pinch my face." She took the dirty water, turned around and went to the bathroom, poured out the dirty water, and took another basin of clean hot water. Water flowed from the metal-colored faucet, and Muzi supported the marble countertop with both hands, staring blankly at herself in the mirror. There was a burst of soreness in my heart, and I couldn't tell what it was like. She didn't know what it was before, but when she was handling a case, whenever she encountered those people who were crazy about love, she always felt unreasonable. There was a woman who was cheated of her body and money, but she didn't want to pursue the property at all. Instead, she asked the man who cheated her, crying, if he ever loved her. There are also women who, in order to make their boyfriends have money to buy drugs, actually willingly degenerate and become prostitutes. Why are there so many idiots in this world? Is it because love is so unreasonable that people who fall into it will become stupid and cheap? Even knowing that he has a fiancé, she can give up her principles and comfort herself that this engagement is just a cover. I love you, little one. Murongcheng's words fell on the tip of her heart, like a pair of chains, firmly shackling her heart. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life. Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HhandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 463. Standing in front of the mirror, Muzi recalled Murong Cheng's sweet words, tears blinded her eyes, and rolled down unconsciously. Fall in love with an engaged man. If it were her before, this would be absolutely impossible to accept, even if the engagement was fake and temporary. Now, however, she compromised, gave in, and did what she thought was immoral before. In order to stabilize the position of patriarch, he can get engaged to someone else. In the future, will he marry someone else for the same reason? Muzi asked herself. Her heart was in a mess, she couldn't see a way out for this feeling. She didn't know if it was because she didn't have confidence in Murong Cheng, or she didn't have confidence in herself. The sound of water continued, and the hot water in the basin overflowed and wet the marble countertop. Muzi regained consciousness and quickly turned off the faucet. She wiped away her tears in front of the mirror, and took out the basin again. Murong Cheng was a little unhappy. Why have you been here for so long? Muzi choked at him in a cold voice. You think I'm slow in doing things, you let Wang Zhan come. Murong Cheng smiled again. What did you ask him to do? If you're not by my side for a minute, I won't feel at ease. Put the basin aside after wiping, and someone will clean it up. Muzi felt that he was moody and insane. She wet the towel, and wiped his face little by little, his eyebrows, temples, and behind his ears, very carefully. Murong Cheng enjoyed it very much, and said with a smile, I've become more courageous, and dare to talk back. Do you think I can't deal with you after seeing me hurt? Muzi pretended not to hear, and she was not afraid. Anyway, Murong Cheng's so-called tidying up was actually playing hooliganism. She was already numb. Muzi wiped Murong Cheng's body and face twice. Her arms were a little sore, and she pressed the scar on Murong Cheng's face again, and asked, why can't this scar be washed off? Murong Cheng held her hand. That can't be washed off. Muzi's expression stagnated slightly, and then his heart felt a little suffocated. It turns out, both faces are fake. She thought that the real Murong Cheng had also put on makeup to cover up the hideous scar on his face. Are you tired? Murong Cheng took off the towel in her hand, and massaged her fingers with moderate strength. Muzi looked at the scar on his face, and asked softly, when did you get hurt? It's been several years, Murong Cheng said in a casual tone. At that time, Huo Zheng and I were in Xianghai City. We were young and vigorous, and dared to think and do anything. Others used knives to scare our casino guests. Let us do business. We threw bombs in other people's places, and later the enemy came to the door, and the wound fell at that time. After he finished speaking, he smiled lightly, pulled Muzi into his arms, and said, is there any man who doesn't get scars? This is called the brand of growth. Muzi looked at him with disgust. I think it should be your brand of breaking the law and discipline. She suddenly felt that the 2 tears she shed in front of the mirror just now were really hypocritical and unreasonable. How could she cry for this kind of man? Her eyes must have been covered with gum. Well, it must be. Zizi, Murong Cheng called her softly, what are you thinking? Muzi came back to her senses, shook her head, frowned and said, you're so annoying, you even want to control what's on my mind? Go to sleep quickly, I just finished the operation. She felt that Murong Cheng didn't love herself very much. As for the old wounds all over his body, if Bai Wei saw it, he would definitely cry earth-shatteringly. Murong Cheng smiled and said, I brought you a present, you go and get it from my coat pocket. Muzi curled her lips, found his coat on the chair beside her, reached out to fumble for it, found nothing, and switched to the other side. As soon as she put her hand in, Muzi couldn't help frowning. She took out her hand full of blood. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 464. It's disgusting. Muzi bit her lip, and took out a bloody gift box from her pocket. Murongcheng smiled, "It's useless to be disgusted, it's yours if you give it to you." Muzi frowned, raised her fingertips, and gently opened the gift box with only 2 fingers. Fortunately, there was no blood on the inside of the gift box, and there were 2 diamond earrings on the smooth black velvet bottom layer, which were pink and sparkling. "Do you like it?" Murongcheng looked at her face. "Not bad," Muzi replied vaguely, putting down the gift box. "I'll go wash my hands." After washing off the blood stains on his hands, when he came back, he saw that the 2 earrings had already arrived in Murongcheng's hands. He waved at her, "Come here, I'll put it on for you." Muzi was a little hesitant, but also a little moved. It's not that she's ignorant, those earrings are so pretty. He walked slowly to the bed, but was pulled over by Murongcheng, who was on the bed. "I don't have pierced ears." Muzi covered her ears. Murongcheng unceremoniously pressed her head on his lap, parted her long hair, pinched her ears and asked, "What is this row?" "Suzi doesn't have pierced ears, but Muzi has them, and there are quite a few of them, 3 or 4 in each ear." Murongcheng pinched the diamond earrings for her to put on. "It hurts." Muzi inhaled, "Take it easy." "Why does it hurt? Is it too tight?" Murongcheng was puzzled. He had never put earrings on a woman, and thinking about it, it should be as simple as putting metal through the ear hole, but Muzi said it hurt. Could it be that the pierced ears have grown solid because they haven't worn jewelry for too long? He said, "Hold on." The tiny metal pin buckle in his hand burrowed into the ear hole again. "Oh, no, no, it really hurts." Muzi's voice was pitiful. Murongcheng felt a little wet, moved his fingers to look, and found a smear of bright red. "You're bleeding." Murongcheng was surprised that the pierced ears really grew. "I said it hurts," Muzi said, dissatisfied, "come out quickly." "But I'm almost healed." Murongcheng was not reconciled. How could he not wear the gift for the first Valentine's Day? He coaxed in a low voice, "Hey, be obedient, you'll be fine soon, just bear with it and you'll be fine." Muzi clenched her fists tightly, thinking that it was the same. Halfway through, "Then hurry up," she said. Murongcheng was really fast. Muzi felt as if his ear was stung by something, it hurt so much. Although the pain was still within the tolerable range, she still felt a little uncomfortable, so Muzi twisted the inner part of Murongcheng's thigh hard. "You hurt me. Didn't you tell me to hurry up?" Wang Zhan pushed the cart himself, and came outside Murongcheng's room, and saw the 2 guards with their ears on the door, sniggering wretchedly. "You guys are tired of work, you dare to eavesdrop on the movement in the master's room." Wang Zhan glared at them fiercely. After staring, he couldn't help gossiping again, and asked, "What did you hear? You're laughing like this." "Master Rong is so hungry and thirsty, I'm going to deal with Miss Mu." "What nonsense!" Wang Zhan frowned. "My lord just finished the operation, what should I do?" "I think I'll fix your heads first." "It's true, Steward Wang." The other person suffocated a smile. Tears were about to flow. "Master Rong said that Miss Mu was too tight and she was bleeding. Do you want to go in and persuade her? It's important for you to take care of yourself." Ah, poof. When Wang Zhan heard this, his heart beat suddenly. "Not so. It's been half an hour since the operation, Master Rong is dying?" But listening to what these 2 people said, it is so true, so detailed. Wang Zhan supported the dining car, hesitating at the door whether he wants to go in or not. "Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 465. Wang Zhan finally went in. He stood outside the door, knocked on the door, and waited in fear. I couldn't help thinking, if Master Rong was interrupted at a critical moment, would he yell at him angrily, or would he shoot and kill him out of patience? Cannot be done. He must risk his life to persuade him. You can't let Master Wrong make fun of your body. Thinking of this, Wang Zhan puffed up his chest, awe-inspiring. Come in. The voice inside was calm and unrecognizable. Huh. Fine. Wang Zhan was puzzled, and then carefully pushed the car in. He saw Murong Cheng lying on the bed, raising his arms to put earrings on Mu Ziyi. The second earring was easier to put on than the first one, and when the barrier was pierced, Mu Ziyi closed her eyes in pain and endured it. Let me see, does it look good? Murong Cheng held her face in his hands, admiring her with satisfaction. Mu Ziyi was very uncomfortable being looked at so intently by him. She lowered her eyes, her eyelashes half covered her clear eyes, her face flushed, adding a little charm. She whispered, have you seen enough? I can't get enough of it. Murong Cheng leaned closer and pecked her lips, and said with a smile, the more you look, the better. Wang Zhan pushed the dining car to the side of the bed silently, and bowed back without looking sideways. After going out, he closed the door again. Wang Zhan raised his hand on the heads of the two men at the door, and slashed each of them viciously. Vulgar. Nasty, Wang Zhan despised them. Master Wrong is just putting earrings on Miss Mu. Get the hell out of here. If you dare to eavesdrop again, I'll cut off your ears and make soup. The two stood a little farther away obediently, but they still held back their smiles. In the room, Mu Ziyi touched his ears, and there was no blood left. She originally had pierced ears, and the bleeding was only a trace, but she had never worn earrings, and now she felt that both sides were heavy, and she was not used to it. Does it still hurt? After Murong Cheng put on the two earrings for her, Mu Ziyi was fine, but he was sweating nervously. He had never been so nervous during surgery under local anesthesia. Mu Ziyi shook her head, and the earrings also swayed. She hurriedly stopped, touched her ears and said, it doesn't hurt anymore. I don't know if it was because of his mood, but Murong Cheng felt that Mu Ziyi looked more beautiful now. He patted the bed, let Mu Ziyi lean over, and jokingly said, if this pain is unbearable, how will we get married in the future? Mu Ziyi leaned in his arms, and cast a strange glance at him. What does it have to do with marriage? The smile in Murong Cheng's eyes grew stronger. On the wedding night, there will always be pain. Mu Ziyi. She sat up, turned around and sat on the chair beside the bed, keeping a distance from Murong Cheng. Zizi, Murong Cheng raised his eyebrows slightly, come here. I won't go there. Mu Ziyi didn't even want to look at him. Your brain is too filthy, it will corrupt me if you get too close. I still want to keep the last bit of Holy Land, thank you. Murong Cheng saw that she seemed to be really sullen. After thinking for a while, his eyes fell on the dining car. You are so far away, how can you feed me? Nutritious porridge and soup are placed on the dining car, as well as some desserts, which are clearly prepared for Mu Ziyi. On the second floor of the dining car, there are medicines, bottled, boxed, and various medicines to help recovery. Seeing those medicines, Mu Ziyi sighed, her heart softened. She picked up the porridge, swallowed it and fed him spoonfuls, muttering to herself, I must have owed you in my previous life, otherwise, how could I be eaten to death? Murong Cheng ate the porridge and said, Zizi, stay here tonight. Mu Ziyi vigorously stirred the porridge in the bowl with a spoon, filled a large spoonful and stuffed it into his mouth. You think beautifully, she said. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 466. In the end, Mu Ziyi didn't stay either. She can't stay out at night, so she can't explain it to Bai Wei, not to mention that Murong Cheng is too limitless. If she has to stay with her all day and all night, she always feels that she will be taken advantage of. So Mu Ziyi resolutely left. When leaving, Murong Cheng said, "Zizi, I really want you to love me once." It was clearly an indecent flirting sentence, but he abruptly uttered a bit of true feelings, with a sense of loss. Muzi scolded him, "Pervert. What should I do?" Murong Cheng said with a smile, "I can't change it, I can only wrong Zizi to pervert with me." Muzi went home angrily. After all, she didn't really ignore him. The next day, she packed some of Murong Cheng's clean clothes and went to see him again. When Bai Wei asked, she said that her brother's company had a lot of troubles recently, so she went to help and sent a change of clothes along the way. And as long as Muzi comes, the room where Murong Cheng rests will be empty. Fetching water for scrubbing, feeding, and medicine, all done by herself. However, Murong Cheng was always unruly. She would often jump up in anger, pointing at Murong Cheng and yelling, "You are not paralyzed. Why do you need me to help you untie your pants?" The two people outside the door whispered, "Madam is amazing. Yeah, if it were someone else, I would have died hundreds of times. That's different. When others scold you, it's the subordinate who offends the superior. Madam scolds, it's for fun." Yes, interest, you are right. "You two, what are you doing again?" Steward Wang suddenly appeared, staring at the two seriously. The two laughed together and said, "Aren't we, seeing that there is a lot of quarrel inside, we are worried that something will happen, so we are concerned." "It's noisy again." Wang Zhan was stunned, and nervously leaned over to listen. The two whispered at the door, "Master Rong was shot before, and there was no doctor or medicine by his side. He just dug out the bullet with a knife, bandaged it, and the next day he looked like a normal person. It's not like this time, take care of it still lying in bed for a few days." Wang Zhan gave them a hard look, "Nonsense. Some people feel distressed now, can it be the same as before? Can it be the same?" Boom. The door suddenly opened wide. Muzi rushed out with a face full of anger, and happened to bump into Wang Zhan at the door. With lingering anger on her face, she glanced at the bottles of medicine in Wang Zhan's hand, and said bitterly, "You lied to me too." After all, he left without looking back. Wang Zhan was at a loss. What's the situation? This is. Wang Zhan racked his brains, but couldn't figure out how he lied to Muzi. He walked into the room with the medicine in his hand, and saw Murong Cheng standing beside the bed, putting on his clothes. Shiren. "Master, what's wrong with Miss Mu?" Wang Zhan leaned over and asked carefully. Murong Cheng glanced at him, and said, "If you want to act, don't act carefully. You didn't finish the medicine yesterday, and you came here with a bunch of medicine. Can she not doubt it?" Wang Zhan. But, otherwise, how could it appear that Murong Cheng was seriously injured? This, how about I apologize to Miss Mu? Admit my mistake, Wang Zhan asked. "Okay, stop putting money on your face," Murong Cheng said. Wang Zhan immediately said, "What I said is that Miss Mu doesn't care about us irrelevant people, and only I can coax Miss Mu back." This flattery was on point. Murong Cheng's thin lips were slightly raised, and he was in a good mood. He put on his clothes and went out. Wang Zhan hurriedly followed. "Master, where are you going? Do you need a car? How many people will you arrange?" "Go home to recuperate." Murong Cheng glanced at him lazily, and said, "I won't be here for a few days, and you continue to spread the news, saying that I am dying. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 467. Muzi reached the house with the first foot, and Murong Cheng entered the door with the second foot. As soon as Muzi saw him, he thought of how foolishly he was serving him these days, and his anger couldn't be contained. The injury was obviously caused by another woman, and she was feeding and scrubbing, and she was so distressed, she couldn't be so cheap. You're a big liar. A complete bastard. Mu Zi pointed at him and scolded, and saw that the scar on his face was flawlessly decorated by some high-end cosmetics. She felt even more furious, feeling that Murongcheng was showing hypocrisy from head to toe. What did I lie to you? Murongcheng asked her with a smile. Is it a lie or a lie? I lay there and let you grope all over and took advantage of everything. Why did I become a liar instead? Mu Zi was instantly furious. Murongcheng has a special ability, that is, he can make Mu Zi, who was originally immersed in love and sorrow, so angry that his heart is thundering and furious anytime, anywhere. What love, love, love? She just wants to tear Murongcheng's mouth apart. She turned around and was about to close the door when she entered the room, but Murongcheng stretched out his hand to block it and forced his way in. I want to study, you go out, Mu Zi said confidently, school will start soon. Murongcheng coaxed her, don't be angry, I just want to stay with you for a while, besides, I was indeed injured, and it's inconvenient to do anything. With you by my side, I can recover quickly. Zizi, you think about it, when have I lied to you? When Mu Zi heard this, her anger calmed down a little, and she felt that Murongcheng had finally said something human. Thinking about it carefully, he has always treated her with great care, every detail, even the matter of his fiancée, he has always explained it clearly and never concealed it. You really haven't lied to me, Mu Zi pursed her lips and squinted at him, have you kept anything from me? Murongcheng paused for breath. He was silent for a moment, with a faint smile on the corner of his lips, of course not. Mu Zi snorted, did you lie again? Obviously there is. Murongcheng's expression froze for a moment. His hands were clenched unconsciously, his veins were slightly bulging, and his nerves were tense. Suspecting that Mu Zi knew something, he looked intently, but saw the faint smile flickering in her eyes. Murongcheng's whole body immediately relaxed. After returning to his senses, he couldn't help but feel amused by his short panic just now. How long has he not known what panic and fear are? Only afraid of her. What's the matter? He hugged her tightly as if venting, and kissed her hard. I didn't hide anything from you. Even if I did, it's because I love you. Keep your voice down. Mu Zi was frightened to death, and covered Murongcheng's mouth with her hand. This man is crazy, Bai Wei is at home, he said so loudly whether he loves him or not, he is looking for excitement. Murongcheng was really looking for excitement, picked her up and threw her on the bed, bent down and kissed her. Mu Zi was so frightened that her wits were blown away, she struggled to sit up, you bastard. Door. Murongcheng got up to lock the door, pressed Mu Zi on the bed and kissed him enough, and then reluctantly let go. No matter what happens, you don't have to worry about it. You just need to remember one thing. Murongcheng held her shoulders tightly with both hands, and said in an extremely serious tone, that is, I love you, Zi. Mu Zi's face was red, and he was roasted into a red shrimp by his frequent confessions. Can you stop talking? Embarrassed to death. Get out, Mu Zi blushed and pushed him away, I'm only playing hooligans all day long. It's affecting my studies. Seeing that she didn't look angry, Murongcheng felt relieved. I won't bother you, I'll just lie here for a while, okay? Zizi, my wound still hurts. She was so shameless that she finally slept on Muse's bed. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 468. 2 days later, Mu Zi helped Murongcheng apply the medicine, and found that his wound had completely healed, with a thin and hard scab forming. Mu Zi told him not to let the wound directly touch the water, and not to scratch, so as not to leave marks in the future. Men don't pay attention to this, Murongcheng said. Mu Zi was very dissatisfied with his attitude. If it's possible not to leave scars, Of course it's better not to leave scars. Why do you have to leave no good skin on your body? Okay, I'll listen to you. Murong Cheng changed his tune, and smiled happily. The male lead is outside, and the female lead is inside. In the future, I will completely listen to Zizi. Muzi gave him an angry look. She really wanted to choke him. You settle your marriage contract first, and then talk about this. But this way, it seems that she is willing to marry him. Muzi simply remained silent, put away the trauma medicine, and asked Murong Cheng to put on his clothes. Murong Cheng didn't have scars. Although there were many scars on his body, most of them couldn't be seen because the color was very close to the skin color itself. The most obvious one is probably the scar on the face. After all, the skin on the face is the most delicate, and a slight defect will be particularly obvious. However, such incompleteness did not detract from his handsomeness at all. On the contrary, it added a bit of evil charm between his brows, and his temperament became more mysterious and attractive. Murong Cheng is the most handsome man she has ever seen. Muzi looked at it, unknowingly fascinated. Do you know that staring at a man like this is a very dangerous thing? Murong Cheng said with a smile in his eyes. It will make me want to swallow you whole. The obsession that Muzi showed when looking at him, confused and cute, he couldn't resist at all. It was so tempting. When Muzi heard Murong Cheng say this, he was a little dazed at first, and then he understood what he meant, and couldn't help feeling embarrassed. She lowered her head uncomfortably, looking for a topic in embarrassment. By the way, there is something I want to tell you. What's the matter? Murong Cheng asked her. Tomorrow, I have to go see someone. Although it was not an important matter, considering Murong Cheng's arrogance and unreasonableness, Muzi felt that it would be more appropriate to greet him in advance. Young Master Gu made an appointment with me, and he wanted to ask me about raising snakes. When Murong Cheng heard this, he narrowed his eyes dangerously. Are all the snake breeders dead in the world? Do I have to look for you? Why do you speak so badly? Muzi was furious, and hit him with a towel at hand. Sisi was on the news a while ago. He saw the news and thought I was good at raising snakes, so he wanted to ask me for help. Murong Cheng said coldly, you are not allowed to go. I promised him. Muzi stretched out his hand to pinch his face. You can go to the airport to pick up your fiancé by yourself, so what kind of face cares who I see? Murong Cheng let her pinch her, and did not let go. That's different. Huolin and I have an agreement, and we are innocent. What's the matter with you and young Master Gu? Who knows why he asked you out? Heart. Couldn't your heart be better? Pure. Those thoughts come and go every day, just like beasts. You are too naive, Murong Cheng said bluntly. If I am a beast, then he is a beast in clothes, not much better. Muzi rubbed his forehead, feeling pain in his head. I've already promised, I can't keep my word. Besides, young Master Gu helped me. Last time Zhang Si had an accident, thanks to his young Master Gu, Zhang Si was not punished, so I should go if I am emotional and reasonable. You can't let me always owe others favors, can you? Favors must be paid back. Murong Cheng thought for a while and said, well, let Wang Zhan go with you. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life. Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 469. No, Muzi refused without thinking. Wang Zhan often follows you up. What if you are recognized? Muzi was furious. You come up with bad ideas. But Murong Cheng was a rascal, and said bluntly, either don't go, or let Wang Zhan accompany you. Why are you unreasonable? Muzi was almost dumbfounded. Who was she not letting Wang Zhan follow? Isn't it for him? If she wasn't worried about his identity being exposed, Why would she be so cautious? I had no choice but to make a deal with him. You can follow, but you are not allowed to show your face. Let Wang Zhan stay in the car. Cheng thought about it, and agreed for the first time. The next morning, the family had breakfast at the table. I told Bai Wei that she invited a friend to eat out at noon, so as to save Bai Wei from preparing too many meals and wasting them in vain. Cheng kept gloomy and displeased. He looked at I carefully and found that she didn't dress up specially today. He felt a little comforted. Before going out, Cheng asked I, "Where are the earrings I gave you?" I was taken aback by the question, touched his ears, and replied, "It's too precious, I put it away." Cheng was suddenly furious. "Do you care if it's expensive or not? You should wear it often after giving it to you, or what else do you keep it for? Do you keep it for a baby?" I looked at her body, hesitated and said, "But it doesn't match well with the clothes." "Then go and change," Cheng said. The corners of I's mouth twitched slightly, thinking that this was simply a robber's logic. Just to wear the earrings he gave her, she had to change all her clothes again. "Tyrant," she scolded him and went back to the room angrily. When she came out again, I put on the earrings and changed her clothes. Obviously everything was done according to Cheng's wishes, but Cheng felt very uncomfortable in his heart. Because, it's so beautiful. Just let her go out like this. It feels like a wolf washing and grooming its own sheep and sending it to another wolf den. It's terrible. Seeing that Cheng's expression was wrong, I immediately became vigilant, and asked suspiciously, "What are you dissatisfied with? I think you are deliberately delaying the time and not letting me go to the appointment." Cheng twitched the corner of his mouth, feeling that his little baby has become more and more alert recently. He coughed lightly, "Come back soon." I gave him a strange look, and left with her bag. Today Wang Zhan is her driver, driving Musa to her destination. Gulianjiao's place is a high-end French restaurant. This restaurant is a membership system, and even if ordinary people have money, they cannot book a seat. I thought it was weird, it felt a little too formal, but then thinking about Guliang's identity, it seemed inappropriate to go to an ordinary restaurant. Guliang arrived earlier than her. As soon as I walked in, a waiter politely asked her if she was Miss Mu, and then led her to Guliang's place. It was clearly daytime, but the light in the restaurant was very dim. There was warm and soft light pouring down from each table, making the atmosphere romantic and charming. The voices of the guests were almost whispering, which felt a little lingering. I couldn't help frowning, feeling even weirder. This really doesn't feel like a serious place to talk. Maybe Guliang prefers this kind of mood? Thinking so, I had already walked in front of Guliang. Miss Guliang looked as gentle and elegant as ever, no different. He opened the seat for her gentlemanly, "Please sit down." Sitting down, I glanced at a bottle of red roses on the table, and her heart skipped a few beats immediately. No. Could it be that Guliang really likes her? Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 470. The astonishment was only for a short moment. I soon discovered that there was a vase of roses on every nearby table, and she suddenly realized that this should be the decoration style of the restaurant, right? I felt very embarrassed for her self-indulgence. She is young, and her family background is not worth mentioning. Although she looks pretty good, but has Guliang seen few beauties? His entertainment group has won countless singers and movie stars. There are all kinds of fat, swallows and thin. How could it be possible for her to fall in love with a student girl who is so clear and watery? Thinking of this, I sat down with peace of mind, feeling that she simply thought too much. I don't come to this restaurant many times. I heard that the chef's skills are very good. Gu Liang smiled calmly and said, you can try it later. There is no shelf between the words, and it seems that the relationship between them has been shortened all of a sudden. Muzi has always had no resistance to delicious food, so she nodded with a smile, okay. When the appetizers were served, someone suddenly approached with strides and greeted Gu Liang, young Master Gu, coincidence, you also come here to eat? Without waiting for Gu Liang's invitation, the man sat down on his own, beckoned to the waiter, and said, add another set of tableware. Muzi saw this man's face clearly and almost jumped up in shock. It's Murong Cheng. This guy actually followed. Too shameless. Muzi only felt that her knowledge of Murong Cheng's shameless lower limit broke the record again. Her heart was turbulent, but because of Gu Liang's presence, she had to restrain her emotions and pretend to be ignorant. But how shrewd is Gu Liang? Muzi's momentary loss of composure just now has been fully seen. He was a little puzzled, wondering if Muzi had met the head of the Huo family somewhere, otherwise how could he seem to recognize him? But how could Muzi, an ordinary female student, recognize someone as far away as Huo Rong? Gu Liang remained calm. Murong Chen was not polite at all. After sitting down, he picked up the wine bottle on the table and poured himself a glass of wine. He took 2 sips, looked up at the 2 people on the left and right, and asked with a smile, did I disturb you too? Is not this nonsensical? Muzi was angry and felt that Murong Chen was too reckless. Gu Liang is a gentleman, he won't embarrass others easily, and said with a calm smile, Master Rong is here, how can you talk about interrupting? What do you want to eat? Do you want me to open another table for you? The implication is still dislike, to drive people away. Murong Cheng smiled and said, Gu Liang, you can't be so stingy in front of ladies. Muzi lowered her eyes and quietly ate what was on her plate, just as if she didn't know him and felt ashamed. When she was eating, the long hair on both sides of her cheeks drooped, and Muzi lightly brushed it behind her ears, revealing her white and round earlobes and bright and winding earrings. The light in the restaurant shone on the pink diamonds, reflecting brilliant brilliance, setting off her small face that was pure and beautiful, elegant and refined. Gu Liang took a deep breath, and then understood everything. He went to see Murong Chen, only to find that Murong Chen was also looking at Muzi. His eyes were deep, as if he was intoxicated. Gu Liang was silent. Another waiter brought the dishes. Murong Chen flipped through the menu and added a few dishes. At the dining table, Gu Liang chatted with Muzi, asking if the dishes here suit her taste. Muzi smiled and nodded. Murong Chen used the topic to chat about the delicacies elsewhere, and Gu Liang occasionally added a few words. Muzi listened more and talked less, showing the lady's chastity to the extreme. It's a little strange to have a table for 3 people, but with intentional maintenance, the atmosphere is actually quite harmonious. After finishing the meal, Gu Liang said to Muzi very gracefully, I'll take you back. But Murong Cheng stood up, and said brazenly, I missed your meal today, I will send Miss Mu back for you, and I will treat it as a favor to you.